These hyenas have finally tracked down one of Africa's most elusive creatures, a pangolin. But guess what? Once they had it in their jaws, they quickly figured out that bringing this little guy down wasn't going to be a walk in the park. Pangolins are tough cookies, covered in those super hard scales, making them a real challenge for predators. This wild encounter took place at Jock Safari Lodge in Kruger National Park, where nature's drama unfolds every day. Just imagine the tension in the air as these hyenas tried to figure out their next move. It's a reminder of how fierce and unpredictable life can be in the wild, right? Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. We've seen many clips of hyenas hunting pangolins before, and to be honest, it's usually quite embarrassing for the hyenas because pangolins are just too tough to take down. They either escape or get away without even getting injured. In this clip, however, things will get very real, and we're about to see a pangolin get drowned by a pack of hyenas. The action starts with the hyena already having the pangolin in its jaws. The pangolin is clearly terrified, but the hyena seems pretty confident that it has this little guy pinned down. Still, something is missing. We don't yet know the full story behind this clip, so it's hard to tell if this is the actual moment the pangolin got caught. If it isn't, then the hyena must have caught up with the pangolin soon after this footage started rolling. Either way, the first thing the hyena does once it has the pangolin secured in its jaws is to try and rip some of those scales off. You can see how tough they are. Even though the hyena is doing its best, it really struggles to make any headway here. So it's going to have to think of another plan. Maybe it'll try biting into the belly of the pangolin. This time, a couple of bites actually does make it inside the shell, but still nothing is happening. The pangolin is all curled up in a tight little ball, making it super tough for the hyena to figure out what to do next. I mean, it's like trying to unwrap a burrito that just won't budge. The hyena gives it another go, but nope, still no luck. It's kind of funny, right? You can almost see the frustration on the hyena's face. Maybe it's time for a change of scenery. The hyena might have to pick up the pangolin and take it somewhere else, trying out a whole new game plan. It's wild how nature works, isn't it? Sometimes you just gotta switch things up to get the results you want. Hyenas are scavengers by nature, but they're also one of the most successful hunters in the African wilderness. When they hunt in groups, there's practically no prey that's safe from a hyena clan. They're smart, fast, strong, and tenacious. And on top of all that, they work incredibly well as a team. This all means that in their natural habitat, they are true super predators. But despite all these advantages, they still struggle to take down this little pangolin. A lone hyena wouldn't stand much of a chance against a pangolin, but this hyena has backup. There are several other hyenas in the area. The fact that the pangolin manages to hold on for so long against a whole pack of hyenas is truly remarkable. The pangolin is really putting up a fight to stay alive, right? Meanwhile, the hyena is doing everything it can to get a tasty meal out of the pangolin's belly. You can almost feel the tension. The hyena's teeth are sinking into the pangolin's side, but it just can't break through that tough skin. It's like a game of tug-of-war, and you can tell the hyena is getting frustrated. At this point, it's pretty clear the hyena could use some help, maybe from a pack of its buddies. Imagine the scene. What happens next could really change the game. It's a wild moment in nature showcasing the raw struggle for survival. What do you think will happen? Will the pangolin escape, or will the hyena finally get its meal? The other hyenas are closing in, and you can just feel the tension in the air. The poor pangolin, totally aware of its predicament, looks like it's about to lose its fight. It lets out one last desperate call for help, but it's like no one's around to hear it. Suddenly, one of the hyenas lunges forward, grabbing it by the tail and dragging it across the ground. It's such a brutal scene, right? You can almost picture the pangolin's little heart racing as it realizes there's no escape. Nature can be so harsh, but that's just how the wild works, isn't it? They drag it over to a nearby bush, and it's like the hyenas are trying to stash their meal while they chow down. It's pretty wild to think about, right? You can almost picture the scene in your mind. The video cuts off just as things get intense, leaving us hanging. But we can totally imagine those hyenas tearing into the pangolin, ripping it apart with their powerful jaws and devouring it. It's a brutal reminder of nature's raw reality, where survival is the name of the game. Such moments are a stark look at the circle of life, don't you think? These little guys are mostly covered in scales, right? And while those scales aren't exactly a gourmet treat, they do pack in some nutrients. But let's be real. The meat around those scales? Oh man, it's super tasty. Sure, it might take a bit of work to get to it, but for a hungry hyena, that effort is totally worth it. Imagine them digging in, savoring every bite. It's like a feast after a long day of scavenging. We've seen many clips of pangolins escaping from hyenas, but this time it wasn't to be. Sometimes it takes a bit of teamwork to bring down prey, but in most cases, a lone hyena could easily kill a pangolin. It's only thanks to the pangolin's protective scales that they can hold off a hyena for so long. Without these scales, a pangolin would be an easy target for any predator. With these scales, they are much harder to kill, but they can't block out all attacks. After a few minutes of dragging the dead pangolin around, the hyenas decided to leave it next to the bush where they found it. They must have dragged it over there to hide it from other scavengers. In the wild, it's important to protect your food from other animals. You don't want others stealing your meal, especially not when you put so much effort into catching it. Even though hyenas are scavengers, they do catch plenty of live prey as well. In most cases, these are small to medium-sized animals, but they will sometimes go after big game as well. A healthy adult hyena can take down prey weighing up to 200 kilograms. That's why it's such a shame that this pangolin didn't get to enjoy its life a little longer. This clip proves once again that hyenas are formidable hunters. They don't always succeed, but when they do, it's a gruesome sight to behold. Hyenas don't just eat anything. They prefer certain types of meat over others. For example, they love the taste of an antelope, zebra, or wildebeest. They also enjoy eating warthogs, although they rarely go after adult specimens. Young warthogs, however, are a delicacy for hyenas. In addition to these animals, hyenas will also eat bugs, birds, reptiles, fish, and rodents. But while these animals are easy to kill, pangolins are a different story. Killing a pangolin is not an easy job. Luckily for this hyena, it had some backup. Had it been on its own, the pangolin would have been able to hold out until the hyena lost interest. As mentioned before, the scales of a pangolin are what makes them so hard to kill. These scales are made of keratin, the same substance our nails and hair are made of, but they're much tougher than our fingernails. Although the hyena is unable to bite through these scales, it does manage to tear some of them off. That's why we see the pangolin lose interest after a while. The most important part of its body, the belly, is wide open. Once the hyena gets in there, the pangolin knows it's in trouble. At first, the hyena doesn't know what to do. But after a while, it realizes that if it puts its head deeper inside the belly of the pangolin, it can feel the organs inside. This is when the hyena decides to go for broke. It really goes deep into the belly of the pangolin and rips out chunks of meat. Despite the hyena causing so much damage, we've probably never seen a pangolin bleed this much. Usually, when a pangolin is injured, it curls up into a ball and protects itself with its sharp claws. This time, the pangolin forgot to do that. We can only assume it was too stunned to react at this point. The video ends before we see the hyena completely finish off the pangolin, but we can imagine that it did. This poor pangolin didn't stand much of a chance. Even though it was able to hold off the hyenas for a while, they eventually got inside its belly and killed it. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please let us know what you thought in the comments below. Also, please remember to subscribe if you haven't yet and join our growing community. Thanks once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.